everybody. Welcome to Becoming Quantum Conscious on United Public Radio Network and UFO Paranormal Radio Network at 107.7 and 103.5 out of New Orleans, Louisiana. Also on Facebook, YouTube, the UPRN Talk Radio website, and Roku. And, life should always throw you surprises. And everybody always thinks they only want good surprises. You don't want the bad or the ugly surprise. And that's kind of my my interpretation of my new StreamYard program that's on here. It's just a very weird surprise. We have Carl Finch on and Lisa Cameron. And Carl is having difficulty getting on, and I don't know if he's going to make it on. And I'm kind of, as usual, as a good radio show host, you have to navigate a few things all at once, and you never know how it's going to go. and I have two old and dear friends, and I mean old in that we've been friends for a long time. Let's not go anywhere farther than that. So without any further ado, I welcome Lisa Cameron to the show. Hey, Lisa, how are you doing?
Hi, doing great, Bart.
Well, I'm glad you're on the show, and we'll see if Carl comes on. I certainly hope that he does.
Yeah.
We'll certainly do. Maybe we ought to give people some history. I'm just going to kind of go with how I thought the show would go. And
okay. I can fill in too. So
yeah, I mean, it's just kind of funny how all of this all works out. I'm just kind of navigating my computer system and stuff. But Lisa Cameron and I were roommates way back at students at, now it's called University of North Texas, I think. We used to call it North Texas State University. I love the state part. Anyway, we were all just the best of friends, and one day a very noted musician, in my opinion, was Carl Finch, and he shows up at my door because Lisa and I were housemates, and said, I want to talk to Lisa Cameron. I got a band going on. I'm starting a band. And it's like, Carl Finch wants to be in a band with Lisa? I was kind of excited about it. And they embarked on, something I thought was just radical. They started a polka and Latin band and rock band and other types of music band, and wanted to make it into a danceable format, which they did. Of course, Lisa was a drummer. And, maybe you ought to just start, because this is about magic and music. But, I always thought one of the aspects of the magic was the beat. Because you did not play everything exactly like the old polka bands did, or the Latin. You kind of found your own way with it.
Yeah, well, I could explain how I got to know Carl.
That's a good idea.
So when I first got to North Texas State, I was interested in becoming a jazz musician because I'd been listening to jazz. I grew up listening to rock and roll. But then it was about 77, 78 when we first were roommates. Was it 77?
Yeah. 77, okay. 78, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and at that time, there was a lot of musical upheaval. So The favorite music that I listened to at that time was uh, more edgy type rock music, like the Stooges or Velvet Underground. And I was in Denton, and there, I was supposed to be playing jazz and listening to jazz, and I really hadn't had that much of a background of it. But then I found these people that wanted to play music, so we started a band called End Over End, and it was a band that we did covers of different bands that we like we did a Stooges cover, we did Blue Oyster Cult, we did Patti Smith, we did Television, we did and that kind of music.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I
the
remember the band. I
Yeah,
was there.
and yeah, you were there, and it was a great band, very unusual people in it. There were some that were just really hardcore jazz people that were wanting to play, punk rock. So
Yeah, yeah.
it could have even been the first punk rock band in Denton. I don't know, but so anyway, I would see this band. This Carl Finch had a band. He was an art student, and he had this kind of a performance art band that was called Room. And Room was very interesting. They would have like a situation, like almost performance art situation, where I remember one time they had a show, and they were uh, they were hidden somewhere, but they were streaming. The actual show were video monitors in the um, um,
The
the
stage.
auditorium.
Right.
Yeah, the stage.
I
You at that
remember
one?
that. I was there. I mean, you guys played in the
Yeah.
entryway in this little bitty small entryway, and we packed in there to see you
Right.
guys, and then we're going. And then after that was show's over, oh, we're going to go down into the theater.
Uh-huh.
Literally, it was a movie theater, and there was no
Yeah.
band set up there. There were 6 televisions.
Right. And that was before I was in the band. I wasn't in that.
No,
That
no,
was
no.
Room. Are you sure?
Yeah, yeah, no, you weren't in that band. I mean, I
No.
remember that. I remember that night like it was yesterday. It's funny
Okay.
how you know
Uh-huh.
things happen, but somehow Carl wanted you as the drummer for this
Yeah. Well,
experimental
that came
band.
later.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Why do you think he wanted
So,
you?
well, then the reason is that he came to see End Over End, and we did a song by the MC5, and he thought it was cool that we did a song by the MC5. And I said, "Do you like the MC5?" And he said, "Yeah, yeah, I'm in this band Room. Come check it out." So I did check it out, and they reminded me kind of the Velvet Underground and their music, but it was unusual. It was something
It
else.
was.
And they also had this singer that, remember that guy? There was a homeless man who said that he had a third sex, and he was a really interesting person. And so he was kind of one of their front people or something. And then Carl would be playing piano, and then there would be a bass player and a drummer. I forgot who exactly they were. But then, I said, "Carl, I really like your music and everything." So we would talk every time I saw him around. We would talk, and it was mostly about, you know, the MC5 or something like that.
Right, right.
And then garage rock. He really was into garage rock. So then after that, I went to Mexico um, with my partner, and I started listening to Mexican polkas, just Mexican music, conjunto,
Right, right.
Mexican polkas. And he found out about it, and then I guess one time I saw him, and he said, "Oh, what have you been listening to lately?" And so I've been really getting into Mexican polkas. And he goes, "Really? Wow, that's super cool. Me too." And then I went to Mexico and came back, and there was a note in my car saying, "Get in touch with me. about this band. I had just been kicked out of school for low grades. So I was thinking, okay, so I'm gonna get in this band. And then so I came over there, and he said he wanted to do this polka band, and he wanted to do a band that just played polkas and waltzes, and we were going to tour the entire Texas State mental health facility situation. So we did that, and we did a 2-week tour. He gave me some money and expenses to go do these. We played at Rusk State Hospital. We played at Austin State Hospital. We played at, I don't remember all the names of them.
I remember it was a mental health tour, and I was living that, through you guys. And of course, what people don't know is that I was kind of the lead dancer, to say the least. I was the guy who was in the audience, a big fan, loving to dance because it opened me up, and I danced. And and if one person gets up with somebody and they're dancing, and everybody else is tapping their foot, but they're too afraid to jump into it. You just need 2 people to get up there and start dancing. Everybody goes, "Oh, I'm ready now," and they all jump up, and then it becomes this raucous party. At that point, everybody's engaged instead of being in a mental place of I'm just listening to the music and sipping on a beer, which is not what Brave Combo was. They wanted something else, which was, and this really gets into, what I wanted to talk about is not so much how it happened, and both you and Carl were, and I wish he was here. Hopefully he'll join in. He was listening to polka records that he bought at a Woolworths for 88 cents, That's his story. Very famous story. And decided this is good music. I think I'm going to start playing. Of course, Carl was a graduate with a degree in fine arts, a master's degree.
Yes.
And so here he was, and you were interested in all forms of art beyond music.
Yeah.
Yes. And so you just kind of jumped into this. And, that's where the wildness began.
True. Now, I just wanted to say there's somebody in the room here that wanted to say, who is the other person that you would be dancing with?
A lot of times with Leanne Cameron or Leanne Simmers at the time.
Yeah, I think that's the person who's here.
Hi, Leanne. Yeah.
Can't leave me out. That's all.
So Hey. So
Carl, well, anyway, about the polkas thing, Carl told me that he was really tired of what was going on in rock and roll. He did not like classic rock. He did not like popular music. And he said he wanted to make it so that people would love a music that was played that were traditionally hated, like polkas and waltzes. And so he wanted to make it so that people would like that and enjoy listening to the accordion, which was, at the time, was the most hated instrument. And, also waltzes, where, a lot of people don't connect waltzes with any kind of energy or anything, but actually waltzes had a lot of energy, and polkas definitely had energy. And they were, a lot of times polkas were like a sexual energy. So that's what you would do. You would go polka with this woman and then maybe go home with her later or some other time. But that's what the whole thing about polka was. It was kind of it was like a dance to get you interested and moving. and that kind of thing. It was almost like punk rock in a way. So that's really interesting that we were in the same time where, you know, people were pogoing and moving around to punk rock, and then also Carl discovered this whole thing about these polka festivals, and we would go to these play these polka festivals, and people would just go nuts. And that, you know, most polka bands at that time were just kind of like doing the traditional thing, which you know was kind of not too exciting, really. It was just kind of like um, just this kind of thing that they would do traditionally. And then when we came in, I had all this extra energy that I put into it because my favorite drummers were, you know, rock drummers. So I added that in, and I also added in other things that I was learning about Latin music and reggae and you know, African music. And so I
Yeah.
just decided to just pull that all together. And I think that this was, in a way, an act of magic, because it was the first time. I think Carl Finch was the first actual musician that I met in my life. And I don't think that. I mean, I do know that he studied people like Edgar Casey, and he was very interested in the effects of vitamin C, and he was very interested in the power of positive thinking, which is basically creating your own reality. And
It
his reality, huh? Go
it
ahead.
re- it really is. I mean, Carl
Mhm.
would never, if anything didn't work, he was one of the most amazing people to just let it go and say, okay,
Uh-huh.
that didn't work. You know, what's next?
Right.
He
And
never
you still
allowed,
like it?
yeah, he never allowed something to stop him, which
Mhm.
for most people, if they flounder or hit a wall, they quit
Mhm.
climbing. He
Yeah,
just,
and so he became this driven person, and we did get very famous, and now to the point now where they win a Grammy every year for best polka band,
yeah,
even though they've been together since 1977, I believe, 76. I believe our
79.
first year. Yeah,
79.
our first
I remember
79.
it because I graduated in 78, not knowing what I'm
Okay.
going to do. And
Mm-hmm.
Carl, you guys started in 79. And in my big expansion to go beyond my college education, I was working in a laundry. Very
Right.
monumental, but I was involved with Brave Combo. Uh,
You were.
and part of that impetus, you know, and something that, you know, the non-musical people, and I want to
Mm-hmm.
go more into the creativity and just kind of step away from the mechanics of music. But one thing that's different from polkas and rock music and jazz music
Mm-hmm.
is
Yeah.
rock is on the downbeat, as is jazz.
Yeah.
It's like boom, pop, and then polkas is boom, pop, boom, pop. You know, so it's on the upbeat,
Mm-hmm.
and there's
Yeah.
and yet Carl and you and other members of the band made it more applicable, kind of going beyond that. It kind of
Mm-hmm.
jumped into something like ska music at times and things like that. It didn't
Yeah, we were just
stay,
inventing new rhythms.
yeah. And that's a really interesting thing about, you know, when we think about music and creativity, it's good to look at something of a musical uh, composition, or not a composition, but that magical, when you put it in a cauldron and you're mixing it all up to make it happen,
Mm-hmm.
that you not make it
Mm.
predictable, that you could try anything.
Yeah, it was kind of like a crucible in a way, that we would just add our things in there and just stir them up, you know, into some concoction. And it did really have an effect. And Carl is very good at being just very direct in what he wants and what he wants to do, and he still is.
Yeah.
We have a current project together, and we haven't played together for 40 years, but we have a project with Jad Fair, who is another sort of musician, magician type music, and so he's still doing that. He's still playing with Brave Combo. I'm still doing trying different things out and seeing if they work, and if they don't work, I'll just go on and do something else. And to me, it's all about the sound. I have never been really too invested in who listens to it or how much money I make from it, because that kind of music usually doesn't make any money. So it is getting to the point now where some people are making that kind of music and making money, but I'm not one of them. So
Well,
I just keep doing it.
you're making a living. You're not on the street.
Yeah.
You have your own home.
No, I'm
You
yeah,
can buy
and I have
any musical instrument you want.
I'm yeah, I'm more of I've been doing body work and massage for almost 30 years now, and I do that for my main, and then I actually think that is where I kind of incubate some of my musical ideas, is with my body work and the way that the body responds to different pressures and different rhythms. And so somebody yesterday, I was giving them body work, and they said, this is like music. And she was a musician,
Mm-hmm.
and a really interesting one, but she noticed these different, things that I told you about, these different parameters or whatever.
Yeah.
And those, that's uniquely connected to my musicianship. And a lot of the music I do now is I'm trying to access resonant frequencies in rooms and things like that, that just find, the actual body of a room is its resonant frequency. And when you find it, then it activates on its own, and then it starts making its own music. And that's true of any object. I think there can be any object, and it could be a tangible thing, or it could be, something that is not tangible, but it's there. Does that make sense?
It does, and it just brings up a lot of questions because body is like a music in that it has a vibration, and you're basically responding to the vibration, just as you're responding to a room with that, and which really takes you to the point of, well, what about an audience? When you're out live, is there something that you kind of perceive out into the audience or feel in the audience that influences what you're going to do?
Or I would invite them to even walk around and listen to the things that are happening in the room. But that doesn't often happen. But I do say, you're free to wander around and listen to the different frequencies as you go into different parts of the room. So that doesn't have a lot to do with drumming, but to me it is kind of a magical act, because it's somewhat of a ritual, because you're trying to find inner things in something that isn't really obvious, or that aren't really obvious.
It's kind of an aspect of feng shui, in that we design our houses and our rooms to have a certain flow. But you're saying at any given time, it's always changing. Bodies change. And you seem to fit into that type of reality or that type of
Mm.
awareness.
Or it just seems that's where I am right now. And I still play in the rock band, like I'm in the rock band ST37, which is pretty danceable, as you found.
Yeah, yeah, it
And
is.
I'm still connected to the drums and rhythms and that kind of thing. But I also have always been interested into rhythms that kind of put you into a trance. So that would include like African music, like Moroccan music, or even some Latin music will do that.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
when you get into these salsa rhythms that are just so complex that you're just transported somewhere into a dance. Uh,
well, I think it's what a lot of people are seeking is, my God, is this so? Do we have Carl Finch?
Yay!
Is
All
Carl there?
right, Carl.
Without a camera, but his voice is there. Are you there, Carl? I don't hear Carl.
Oh.
Uh, I am going to keep him on, uh, and we'll see if the voice shows up. Let's see. Maybe I need to unmute Mike. Okay, Carl, you are still muted.
Hello?
Hello, Carl.
Can you hear me?
Yes, you can.
You can?
Carl.
Hey,
Hey,
Lisa, there
Carl.
you are.
Hey.
Bart's head is as big as your whole body.
Oh, yes, it's so weird. They have
I've
changed.
shrunk
They
in my old
they,
age.
they
Can
have.
you can you
Yeah,
see
yeah.
me? Can
No,
you see
not
me?
at all. I can
How do
hear
I do
you, which is the most important thing.
this? Well, let's see. Hang on.
Well, that's all right. Uh, You know, we're
Hang
not as pretty as we used to be anyway.
on.
So,
Hang on.
so,
Hang on.
so I'm getting ungraciously slapped with that concept every day.
Okay, hang on.
Yeah.
No.
Huh?
Well,
Oh, well. Well, we just want to welcome Carl Finch. And Carl Finch, we've been talking about you almost like we're having a effigy about you, and that, we're looking at your tombstone or something. Such a wonderful feeling because we're talking about Carl Finch stories and like, oh, that Carl, with this, and making the best of it without your presence. Welcome to the show, Carl.
thank you, Bart. I wish that you could see me. I dressed up for the occasion.
I'm glad you're here.
I'm gonna. I don't know why this isn't. What's going on? Let me see what I'm not doing right. Y'all, you go ahead and y'all chat for a minute.
Why don't Lisa and I have a question. I was just about to ask you a question, Lisa. And
Yeah, go
Carl,
do that.
after Lisa pipes in, maybe you have a comment to make as well. When you talk about going into trances with the music, you know, I know what that's like as a dancer, that when you get to that place, because I think this is what an important part of magic is, an important part of what music teaches us. It's to go into that space where you're no longer you. Does that make any kind of sense?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you transcend your form into something else.
What's that like for you?
Well, it's hard to explain. It does happen though. Sometimes, and sometimes I'll just let it go, and I'll just find the frequency I'm looking for, and just let it go, and it just goes. And sometimes I'll just have to kind of nudge it along this way or that way. But when I find that spot where I don't even have to touch anything and it just starts going, that's really intense because then I'm almost there and I'm almost not there. So I'm in like almost two places at once.
and everything gets a lot easier. Like your whole physical, all your physicalness becomes easier to pull off when you get there.
Hmm.
And I'll kind of look at it sometime like I'm surfing, like it's
Yeah.
like you're kind of in the water and then suddenly you're on top, and it would almost be hard to knock you off. In fact, it would be.
Yeah.
And then when you're linked up with other players, I don't know what they're feeling, but if everybody's kind of on the same page, it's not just you, then everybody's
Yeah.
contributing to this. Then you have the element of the audience, and you feel that when you're making that connection, that's a whole different sense. That's pretty special. I don't analyze it a whole lot, you know. I just kind of, and I think Lisa's the same way. I've worked with Lisa so much, I kind of know how all that goes too. Uh, Man, I just know in the early days of Brave Combo, there was no rule book, there was nothing. We were, just discovering Lisa playing in this kind of funky rock band with Bo and those guys, and then hearing, wow, there's something not quite just rock and roll about that drummer. There's something that's not just rock and roll going on in that guy's head. So then comes to turn out that it's cumbias and all kinds of stuff, and an immediate sense of what the polka groove is like, which is you can either play a polka groove or you can't. Period.
That's true. Yeah.
I mean,
think Lisa's natural curiosity about music, we were already talking about things that we already both knew about that was not pop music. I mean, this is one of the craziest stories. Lisa turned me on to the Sons of Hawaii, and
with the steel guitars and all of that good stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
The music of old Hawaii. You know that? Remember that album with the volcano on it? And
yeah, it's so great.
It blew my mind. And so Jane and I, her parents invited us to go to Hawaii with them, and we went to Hawaii, and they booked us rooms at the Waikiki Outrigger Hotel, and we pull up to the hotel that night and the next night on the marquee at that hotel, the Sons of Hawaii.
Whoa.
Okay.
So they were right there. The three who were still alive were right there, feet from my room.
Oh my God.
So
that's so cool.
So I gotta ask y'all a metaphysical question with something like that. Here you are, a musician, and you spend years developing these skills and techniques. And it starts as a very intellectual thing. You learn notes and all of this technical stuff. And then you get to a set of mastering, you get with the right set of people, and you're playing the music that seems to resonate with you, and you lose yourself. You go into this reality that we're talking to. Does it seem to open like a kind of synchronicity with life that you run into the Sons of Hawaii when you start to adore them? I mean, does that stuff happen all the time?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think so with both of us. I think that does happen. And I think that you after a while you become a magnet for that kind of activity. Like I just keep meeting people that that really inspired me. Like Carl Finch always inspired me. We were talking about Room earlier, Carl. That's how we met.
Yeah.
I think.
Oh, wow.
I would go through the Room and I would think, wow, that is the most Velvet Underground thing I've seen in town. And then you came to see End Over End, and we played MC5, and we talked about that. So it's yeah, it is. And then you start magnetizing yourself. So then all of a sudden I get this call to come play in Austin with Rocky Erickson. And Rocky Erickson is another type of magician type musician. And then I moved down here, and I probably, you know, there's so many musicians down here that it's easy to get lost in it. And I think I got lost in it. But
Yeah.
I met really magical people, like Daniel Johnston is another one. And then you met David Byrne, and David Byrne had a huge influence on your career. And you met, some
Of
of
the
your,
of the
polka.
Yeah, I mean,
of the talking heads of David Byrne, if anybody's wondering.
Yeah.
yeah, I think that the word magnet is it, and I've thought about
Yeah.
that a lot. Like, this
Mhm.
has been a Brave Combo has been a ridiculous career. It's just, uh, I mean, I think I talked to Bart about this the last time, but uh,
Mhm.
I put a lot of stock into uh, sort of a behaviorist thing I went through before I even met you, Lisa. Before Brave Combo, well, probably if you saw Room, it was at the end of Room. And
Oh, okay.
I was starting to wonder why we weren't supposed to judge. Like, why are we not supposed to
Uh-huh.
judge? Like, I know everybody says don't do it, but and if you, it's a common theme in all religions. It's kind of the central theme in all religions is getting to this place that you're not judging. And
Uh-huh.
I wanted to know why. And that's when I did this behaviorist thing where I stopped using judgmental words like good and bad, right
Mhm.
and wrong, mainly, but even subtle judgmental words like proper, improper, uh, appropriate,
Mhm.
not appropriate. However you could break it down, where the judgment came into the picture, and I became pretty ridiculously obsessed with this, frankly. And then once I started feeling the effects of that, I
Mhm.
I absolutely became a magnet. And then
Mm.
things that I wanted to happen, as squirrely as this sounds, squirrely. Even meeting
Uh,
Dave, when I met David Byrne 2 weeks before he got in touch with me, I thought I need to reach him because he's one of the two or three big pop figures who are actually, I think, really interested in music from other cultures and the influence of something other than pop being the beginning and end of it all. You know what I mean? And so
Definitely.
And
two
and and
two
what I think you guys are talking around that you're not saying is there's just kind of two forms of music there, which one is we want to follow our soul path, our creative path, something inside of us that makes us feel alive, and that's the magic of music. And then there's
Mhm.
other people, and we see this even particularly today with all the computer generated rhythms and backgrounds and everything being
Mhm.
perfectly in harmony. It kind of makes you fall asleep. Um, but it's that division, and I think that's why I wanted to do
Mhm.
this show with you two is, you know, you guys chose the road less traveled and
Yeah.
see what that
And
was.
I continue to do that. I try to find the road that's least traveled, for good or for bad. I mean, I feel like now I'm playing with the most amazing musicians ever now, including Carl and the project that we have with Jad Fair. I'm really super excited about that. That's another instance of magnetism where I was magnetized to those two, and I just had this feeling in my mind that it would be a good project to do. And so then I approached Carl with it, and then I approached Jad, and we did it. We recorded in Denton, and that was a couple of years ago. And it's finally being mixed now.
Well, we can't wait to have that come out. Now, we could find that record at bravecombo.com. Is that right, Carl?
Well, when it happens, and just so to add to that, and I can tell Lisa this right now, the engineer I'm working with here, everything's rough mixed, and you'll be getting, Lisa, you and Jad will be getting, the tracks sound very good.
Mm.
And
Okay.
Jeffrey Barnes came in and added,
Uh-huh.
I mean, man, if there were ever a time that Jeff and Lisa could be in the same band at the same time,
Uh-huh.
where they could, these are two people. Lisa, I know you spend a lot of time floating in that place that I do as well.
Uh-huh.
Jeff lives there.
Oh yeah, I know he does live there.
Yeah.
And the stuff that he added is really good.
It's pretty cool. Yeah.
And to think of, and to give the audience a little bit of background with Jeff Barnes, of course, lifetime musician, has played in Brave Combo for 43 years, something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that. He's one of the most disciplined musicians you'll ever meet, but also to say that he's way abstract is being a safe assessment there with that. But you know, when we talk about this to the audience, you know, it's like the question I have is, how can you open your creativity to that vibration? You know what? I dance and I'm in that zone where there's nothing but me and the music and my body following it. There's a vibration that goes through my nervous system that is healing. It's electric. And I think it applies to all of my projects that I do. And for those in the audience, I just invite you to jump into that with that. And also, I wanted to tell everybody that you are on Becoming Quantum Conscious, and my name is Bart Sharp at United Public Radio Network and UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 107.7 and 103.5 out of New Orleans, Louisiana. We are with Carl Finch, creator of Brave Combo, and the first drummer in the band. So, also part of the creation of Brave Combo, Lisa Cameron. You can find Carl's work of Brave Combo at www.bravecombo.com. And Lisa's, you can find Lisa's work at www.st37.com, one of the bands that Lisa plays with, and other links. Lisa Cameron has, God, you have traveled with more bands, been on the road more often than anybody I know.
Yeah, it's still happening.
You know, and what gives you that drive to just keep going? You know, both of you, what is that?
Well, one thing I discovered during the pandemic, that the most important thing to me was my art, and that everything else is secondary to that.
That's good to know.
Yeah, it's kind of,
and that's what drives me.
It's kind of hard to not be that way. I'm frankly, that's I realized recently, I think Lisa can relate to this, I've done nothing in a conventional way. I mean, nothing. I'm vegetarian, and I saw the other day that I thought vegetarians would, like, that the time had come and everything was, you know, but I've noticed that there was a big spike in this, all the vegan and vegetarian foods in the grocery stores for a while. I noticed they started dropping off. So only 5% of the population is vegetarian. which I was, that was shocking to me. But like, I don't even
Wow.
sleep. I don't even sleep a normal schedule. Uh, I mean, nothing. We've done nothing, and we can't. And I think Lisa can relate to that. Like Jane and I, my wife and I, we can't do anything the normal way. And that the road less traveled, man, music. That road less that road is the road, the only road that attracts me.
Yeah.
You know, it is. It always was.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I can't change that. I'm
Well,
not.
Carl.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, nothing. I'm
No.
just.
Okay. Well, we were talking earlier about you and how I told Bart that I thought that you were the first person in my life that I would consider a magician because you were just making everything happen. You were creating your own reality, and I was also reading about doing that, with Robert Anton Wilson and that kind of stuff, and Carlos Castaneda, I guess back then, creating a separate reality. And I think that you were one of the first persons that showed me that it didn't really matter what people thought of you. You just do it, and then you would do it with such finesse that everybody would want to do it.
Wow. Well,
And I thought that was amazing.
I'd like to add to that. He does it with good manners. There's no rebel in Carl Finch that says, "Well, you're not my type of person. Bite me." You're playing.
Very
You're playing these
inclusive.
polka fests to all of these redneck
Mhm.
Texans and raising the vibration out there with them. Whether they know it or not.
Yeah, we played those early polka fests, and those people were very wary of us. But when we brought people to the polka festival, then they changed their tune. It was like, okay, well, I guess, you guys can do. We were getting letters from people that saying we were destroying their music. I even still have that one letter that guy wrote from Minneapolis.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
You remember that one? I still have that letter. Okay, we're doing something right.
Yeah.
We got a lot of hate mail in the beginning. The more
Yeah.
popular we got in the larger polka world, that the percentage of people who were wary of us also grew. But man, it only it just takes 40 plus years. You'll win them over.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just stick with it for 40. But that's a good point though. How do you separate the music from people's tendencies so everybody can come together in the same place, no matter where they're leaning in any way, no matter what it is, politically, religious, their preferences, whatever. And part of the thing that I've been trying to communicate to the International Polka Association, and I'm good friends with all those people that's out of Chicago, and they're the main sort of pulse point, is how you can play polka music without any tribal, ethnic heritage influence. So it's there with it's not Czech, Polish, German, none of that. It's just the music. But take away all your outfits, take away the food that you associate with it, take away all your grandparents' stories, take that pride and put it on the shelf. All of it.
Wow.
Completely. And
This is such a great acronym for life, Carl.
Well, I mean, Lisa and I didn't have that in our background. I didn't know anything. We didn't know anything about that stuff. We knew more about cumbias. We knew more about that going that we didn't know much at all, other than, wow, this is a cool music that's been outrageously maligned by pop culture, the most misunderstood stuff. And so I'm in a position now that I can challenge why does all of this stuff have to go with it? Is that the only way you're keeping this alive? It's attached to Oktoberfest and Lederhosen or sausage. You know, is that it? How about if we can the world of polka imagine the music without that?
Then we just kind
Uh,
of get into the energy of it and let it maybe
Yeah,
transform us.
right. Exactly. Not you see, for you, it's simple. You don't care. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's part of their challenge to not judge,
Yeah.
to break the wall down. You know,
true.
you're the goal. You're everybody's goal. You
Well,
are.
I still add it. I
No, I mean,
then
as an audience, as a person in the audience, and you do a lot more. You're not just an but you're open. It doesn't matter to you. We could play Ja. We could play anything. A Brave Combo. We were all over the place. It didn't matter to you. You weren't. Oh, I don't like that kind of music. That's the goal.
well, I think it's like learning how music takes you on this like this wave, and you jump on the wave and you learn how to love that wave, and you want to be an active expression along with the musicians. Therefore, you dance,
Right. But
and
that's my level.
it's simple as that.
Yeah.
We only have 3 minutes, and I'm sad to say. Uh, Anything you want to promote really quickly about what's going on in your life that think's important, like gigs or
Oh,
projects or something else?
okay. I'll just throw this in. I talk too much, but the other half of my life is rescuing animals, and I am deeply, deeply involved in that. I have a cat. Hang on a second. Oh, you can't see me. I have a cat right here at the office that I recently rescued. But I'm telling you, it's 50% of my world is looking for discarded, desperate animals in this hunk of downtown, and then tending to them, finding them, and tending to them. And that's I will for myself. This opens up the next level. That's all I can say. For me, it's
Say,
daily horrible physical sacrifice. I go out at midnight every night, no matter how horrible the weather is. Man, I'm out there with these cats, and they are coming to me. So anyway, that's all.
service is a higher part of love. That's all I can say. And you have served so many of us, Carl. Much gratitude is huge.
Well,
and Lisa, anything that you want to put out there, like this is what I'm doing these days? We've got
Well,
45
I am
seconds.
really excited about this project with Carl and Jad.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I think
yeah,
I can't wait to hear what it sounds like. I haven't heard it yet, really.
I think we all do. Now, you can go to Brave Combo when this comes out and buy it, everybody. Also, you can go to Brave Combo's website and buy their records, see where they're playing, read Carl's newsletter. But more importantly is buy all of these amazing recordings they have. Lisa, you're on ST37's website, but imagine if we Googled you. You travel all over the United States with various bands.
Yes.
It's an incredible testament of who you are.
Well, it's daunting, but I keep doing it anyway because it just seems to me to be very important. And whether it's based in any kind of success doesn't really matter to me. What matters to me is the sound that comes out, and that's what I'm all about, is the sound.
Yes, and we have to stop. We just wish everybody the best. Thank you, Carl Finch. Thank you, Lisa Camera. Bless you.